Hello everyone, I have been asked to make this video by many of my junior friends who have no idea how to apply to college, which is totally understandable. Everyone just expects you to enter your senior year prepared and no one actually tells you what to do. So today I will be telling you about my application process and some tips that I have. So first, you want to make a college list, obviously, and I wouldn't apply to too many schools. Like maximum I would say like 12. I applied to 7, but for some people they want more options. Some people, if they're very confident, they might only apply to like 4 or 5. When you apply, you want to put your colleges into lists. So there's usually about 3 categories of colleges that you apply to, and the first one is reach. So reach schools are, you don't know if you're gonna get in, but you would really like to go there. So for example, I had about 3 schools in my reach list. And then there's a target list. So these are schools that you would probably be a very good fit at, that match your grades, your activities, stuff like that, and you're pretty confident you're gonna get in. And so I had, I think, 2 at that one. And then 2 safety schools, or any other number of safety schools, basically just in case something happens and you don't get into your target or your reach schools. It happens, like, you have no control over your application process except for your essays and your grades and stuff like that. Some tips that I have are, you definitely want to do your research on the schools that you're applying to, because there are always schools that will be a better fit for you, even if they're very similar to other schools on your list. And also, you don't want to be afraid to aim high, because you will regret not applying to them in the future, because there's always a chance that you could get in, you know. It might be small, but it's better than having no chance of getting in because you didn't apply to them. So even though I got rejected from a bunch of my schools, I feel good because I still applied to them, and you know, I gave it my best, and it was just due to luck. So I just didn't have good luck, which is, I mean, happens, so it's okay. So the second part is your essay. And so every school will usually ask you for a personal essay, so this would be your Common App or something like that, like your personal statement essay. And then they also ask you for some supplements, especially if they're like better schools. They want to see how you stand apart from other people. A lot of people that I read essays for, they wrote their essays on very generic topics, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but according to a lot of the people that interviewed me and like other students that have read other essays, it's pretty, like, it gets boring, you know. Like they don't want to hear 5,000 essays all talking about the mission trip that you went on when you were 13 or something. So some topics you should probably not write about: mission trip, like I just said. Anything similar to that, like white savior complex, like I feel like that's just not a good topic to write about, because it doesn't really show who you are, you know. It might have been like a really good experience for you, but they're very tired of hearing about it. Another topic that a lot of people write about is like sports, and like a special game that they had, or like one moment when they realized they had to dedicate themselves, you know, something like that. But that one's also pretty overused, and I don't know, like, it's probably not going to stand out when 5,000 other people are writing about the same exact thing. And also, I don't think it's good to write about how you love studying and, you know, you're such a good student. It takes a lot just to be able to say that you're applying to college. So obviously they already know that you've put in the effort and you've put in the time, but they don't really care. Like, it's not unique, okay? Everyone who's applying to college is some kind of good student, you know? Like, whatever subject it might be, they're good at something. So what should you write about? I think it's best to write about, you know, the little moments that set you apart. Like, one of my friends wrote about how sometimes she lucid dreams, and she just like wakes up in the middle of the night and like suddenly has these hallucinations and stuff, which, I mean, I guess that's pretty common too, but I feel like it's better than saying like, oh, I once went to this track meet and it was really good for me because I learned how to run faster, you know? And then one of my friends said she had this whole essay on how she fixed her earring holder. Like, that was the whole essay. It was really descriptive, and it was a good essay. Like, it really showed who she was, and not just like, oh, I like to build stuff, you know? Another tip I would give is, just add like memorable details. Like, one of my teachers, he said he used to do college admissions, and one time he was reading this essay and he didn't really remember what it was about, but they mentioned spiders in it, and he really did not like spiders, but it caught his attention. So when he was rereading them, he remembered that essay just because it had spiders in it. They're the little things. And okay, I have this article, The Dirty Secrets of College Admissions, from the Daily Beast. And okay, so honestly, the essay, if you try your best, after that it just comes down to luck, because you never know, maybe your admissions officer is just in a bad mood the day that they read yours and you get rejected. On this article it says, one night I got food poisoning at a restaurant in Buffalo. The next day I rejected all the Buffalo applications. I couldn't stomach reading them. So it's like, you really have no control after you send in your essay. Whatever happens is gonna happen. And that's pretty much all you can do about it. Okay, so next, I'm gonna talk about FAFSA and CSS and other scholarships and stuff. So obviously college is very expensive. A lot of people cannot afford to go to college, which is very unfortunate, but it's just very expensive, and it's honestly very unnecessarily expensive. So my first tip is everyone should apply to FAFSA, no matter how much your parents make, no matter how much you make if you're living on your own. They might not give you much, but it's better than nothing, you know, because it's government money. So usually they will give you a loan, and you just have to pay them back. But then sometimes you can also apply for grants, and then the grants you get to keep and you don't have to pay those back. So those are also pretty good. Also, the CSS profile is, you have to pay for that one, so don't get it mixed up. The FAFSA is free, okay, don't get scammed. But CSS profile is like through College Board, and it will let your school tell you how much that your school can provide you. So whatever schools you apply to, you want to apply for the CSS if they require that, and then they might be able to give you something. And then scholarships. So a lot of schools that I applied to had scholarships available, but you had to apply to the scholarship before, because the scholarship deadlines were usually before the actual deadline of the application. So you really have to do your work early and like start asking your teachers for recommendations and stuff. I'll talk about that next. But you have to write the extra essay for the scholarship and stuff like that, and you have to get your materials together. So I honestly would probably start doing that like as soon as possible. Like August, it might be a little too late, because a lot of scholarships are due like in October, November, and the regular deadlines are due in like December. So you want to be sure that you're done, because usually you can't apply for the scholarship until you've turned in your regular college application, which means you have to do both of them early, you know? So just keep that in mind if you really want those. And then sometimes scholarships will be given to you automatically when you apply. So like you can, when you are applying for the school, you just like select that you want to be considered for a scholarship, and then you have a chance to get it. Other things, I know a lot of people work during school, so they have part-time jobs to pay for it, tuition and stuff like that. You know, you can always get a job at your school. They usually have employment opportunities. Honestly, I encourage everyone to apply to college. I know it's a lot of money for some people, and for some other people it might not be, but it's a good opportunity to, you know, advance your education. And then you also have better opportunities of employment after college. Not that fair if you are in the position where you can't afford it, but you know, there are always things that can be done to help pay for it, and everyone deserves to have that kind of education, because it just sets you up for a better life, you know. So let me turn on my fan. Next we're going to talk about recommendations. So Most schools require about 2 recommendations, and so I don't recommend sending in more. I mean, there usually are options to send in more, but it wouldn't be very beneficial unless the extra recommendations had anything that really stood out from the other 2 that you've already sent them.
I just forgot to mention that one of the recommendations you need is counselor recommendation, but you don't have to worry about that because your counselor is required to write you one if you're applying to college. I would just get to know your counselor maybe over the year or over the years, and they'll probably just ask you to send them a list of your activities and such. So yeah.
For my recommendations, I asked one of my teachers that I did really well in their class, so that was my academic recommendation, and then I picked one that I had a really good relationship with. Academic teachers, I would recommend asking a core teacher because they will describe like how you work, you know, how you participate in class and how you are as a student, right? And then for the other one, I picked a teacher that I had a good relationship with because then they could talk about, you know, how I was as a person and, you know, if I got along well with people, stuff like that. I don't know. That's just how I did it. But I feel like it was probably good because you want to be a good student, but you also don't want to be a boring student. Also, a lot of scholarships will also ask for recommendations, so if they don't want you to send in an extra recommendation, just don't do it. Because honestly, it's not going to help much because there's only so much that your teachers can say about you through a letter, you know? Which is why you have all the other parts of your application to show them who you really are. Some stuff that I regret about my application process, I feel like I should have applied to more schools. I applied to 7, right? Some of my friends applied to like 20. They were like really all getting their admissions decisions like the same week. They were getting like 10 in a row, and I was like getting like 3 total. You know, I just thought I had a better chance than I really did, which is honestly not my fault. Like, apparently this year there's been like so many students applying to higher, like, better colleges. Like, they can't accept everyone, so I actually also regret not asking more people for help. I definitely asked a lot of my classmates to help me read over my essays and stuff, and I did it for them too, but I feel like that wasn't very beneficial because we had never been accepted to college before, you know. We should have asked older people, right, for help. I feel like my application could have been just like amped up a little. I could have figured out more achievements to put on there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on my application, but I could have worded it better, you know, to make it sound better, stuff like that. Some things no one ever tells you about the application, like, honestly, nobody knows what they're doing. Like, nobody knows what they're doing. And it's a lot harder than you think it is. Like, I know people have this perception that it's just like, oh, you just have to like write your essays and like brag about all the clubs that you were in, but it's like there's like a very specific way that you have to do it. There's a method to the madness, and sometimes you don't even know if it's worth the trouble because it's like, what if I just get rejected? Like, why did I go through all that work for nothing? As long as you try your best, I think it's all worth it in the end. It's just kind of a shot in the dark, and then you get to wait for many months. And then also, no one tells you, but the first rejection that you get is very painful. Like, it hurts. Because, I mean, I remember I applied early to college, and then I got rejected, which was in December, right? And I didn't think I was not ready for that because I was still in the process of applying to my other schools. So it kind of just felt like I had no chance at all, even though it was like one of my reach schools. So like I wasn't gonna get in the first place, but I just had not prepared myself for that, and but it was okay. You just have to tell yourself, like, this doesn't define who I am as a student, as a person, and I got over it, so it's good. Some truth about college admissions. There's no way that a college admissions officer can judge you objectively. You can't just look at someone's application and make an unbiased judgment of that person, because you'll just start seeing things from your point of view. And there's nothing you can do about it. And also, there's no way that you can sum up who you are into 650 words, which is why I didn't really like the essays, because it's like, you've lived on this earth for 17, 18 years, maybe 16. It's just not possible to fit that amount of time into such a short essay. Like, this is not a long essay. 650 words, it sounds like a lot, but if I look at like the homework assignments I've done in the past month, like most of them were like 1,000 words each. Like, you write a lot. That was actually one of my biggest problems. I just kept writing too much because I didn't know how to condense my life into that small of an essay. I think it's better to try and get interviews from people, because it's easier to tell who you are from having a conversation with someone than just like having them read about your life, because they read those essays really fast. They like skim it and then they put it in a pile. They don't think about it again. So lastly, how to cope with rejection. So I applied to 7 schools this year and I got rejected from 5 of them, so that was kind of sad, but I mean, it's fine. I got over it. Rejection is normal. A lot of people probably haven't gotten rejections before, so this time of the year like this, I mean, it's just really hard for some people. But it doesn't define you. It doesn't define your character. You might just be unlucky, like me. I mean, a lot of people who had the same grades as me, did the same things as me, they got into schools that I got rejected from. So like, it's not about you. It doesn't matter where you go, because if you put your best effort into it and you do what you can do, you'll still thrive. And honestly, it's just a degree. It will honestly be the same degree no matter what school you're going to, right? After you do get rejected, you might realize that like, this is just how it's meant to be. Like, you will find a school that fits you and that's right for you, and it might take a while, but you'll understand, like, this is where I'm meant to go. This is where I'm meant to be. In my personal experience, I felt pretty robbed. I mean, I put in so much work, and like, I'd written so many drafts of essays, and I really tried to put as much as I could on my application, and I still got rejected from 5 schools. They're all private schools. Got over it. I was bitter, but life moves on, I still got into college, and honestly, even if you don't, there's still other options. Like, you could go to community college, you could get a job. Like, it doesn't end. Life doesn't end just because you got rejected from school. You just need to be proud of yourself and proud of who you are, and then realize that it's okay. Like, everything's gonna be okay. That is the end of my college admissions video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it was kind of long. If you have any other questions, you can comment them down below, and maybe I'll make a second video, because I know I missed stuff. There's just a lot of things that you have to talk about. And I'll link that article down below that I read from. That's the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you later.